Hello, Friday, so it's apologetics, and I would like to continue with the moral law. And today I'm arguing that without moral law, there would be no human rights. In World War II, the Allies were appealing to a universal standard by which they were able to persecute the Nazi war criminals. In 1946, the 1st of October, the Nuremberg trial ended, and 22 perpetrators were given various sentences for violating basic human rights. But the interesting thing about it is that the Fourth Geneva Convention was signed on the 12th of August 1949. And this included the protection of civilians in war zones, which means technically the Nazis didn't really violate any international law by the Holocaust, but the Allies, by appealing to inherent basic human nature, they were able to sentence them. And I think the saddest thing about it is that if you appeal to natural selection, to Darwinism, whereby you argue that natural selection is based on the survival of the fittest, then the Nazis were acting accordingly because they were stronger than the Jews. They survived, the Jews didn't. And although I heard people arguing that it is not universally, it is not objectively a bad or evil thing, but tell me, if you watch Schindler's List, tell me that you don't think it's a universally horrible thing that they did to the Jews. I recently read a book called Ordinary Men. It follows the journey of Police Battalion 101. It was a police force in World War II, and they were sent to Poland to police the Polish Jews. But they were sent to, I think, Lithuania first, or Latvia, but I think it was Lithuania. They sent them to Lithuania first, and they were killing Jews there as well. But I remember there was a German military, a high-ranking military person who told people, I said, you can't just keep doing this. We need the Jews we need them to build the infrastructure, or at least to try to maintain infrastructure. But they didn't care. They said, look, we were told to kill the Jews, and that's what we're doing. And I remember watching about World War II, and they said Hitler, even towards the very end, would have been, not the very end, but even towards the end, he would have been able to turn around the tide. But he was more concerned with killing as many Jews as possible. Instead of concentrating the resources to the front, he concentrated the resources to the concentration camps, killing as many Jews as possible. And you probably heard Hitler's book Mein Kampf. I think it means my struggles. But one of the basic tenets, the Aryan race, which argues that they are the superior race and everybody else, especially Jews, they are dogs. Because I remember in this book they were talking about the German propaganda about the Jews, and they called them dogs, and they called them the enemies of the state, and they were not human beings. That's the thing, that's what you have to do. If you want to kill an entire race, just dehumanize them. People know killing is wrong, but they don't necessarily think killing a non-human being is wrong. That's what abortion is built on. So I'm going to talk about this later, but it's not that killing a baby is wrong, it's that people argue it's not a baby. There's ways around things by the looks of it. So back to Mein Kampf. The title of Charles Darwin's book, everybody thinks is, well, that's what the that most people know is called The Origin of Species, but the full title is The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Favored races. Not hard to go there from favored races to the Aryan race. But to be able to differentiate between the morality of a civilized person and that of Hitler's, there has to exist a standard, a rod, if you will, a standard by which you can measure both of the moralities and decide which one is closer to that standard, which means that standard has to be different than either of those. So therefore, if you want to measure something to something else, it has to be universally correct, because how could it be a standard? How could it be other than, well, I just don't like it? So it's not really a standard, it's more like a state of mind that you didn't agree with what Hitler did, but hey, such is life. But if there is a standard by which you can judge someone's morality, it means that a universal objective standard exists, which can only be grounded in the nature of God, and I will talk about it more. Therefore, the reason we can choose on what side we are of a moral issue is only possible if we think that our position is objectively correct. Because if it weren't, or if we didn't think it to be the case, we couldn't stand on either of the argument. Because how could we? How could we say that my side, I think it's universally or objectively a good thing for me to fight for this cause? Whether you're right or not is another issue, but we still behave as if an objective standard existed. Bye.